Welcome into Tailgate Thursday for week number 11 of the 2024 college football season. My name is David Morrison from the Ball Society, here to preview the upcoming college football games this weekend, featuring our Vols, the SEC, and games across the nation. We begin with our beloved Tennessee Volunteers, ranked number 7 in the college football playoff rankings, and all the rankings you're going to see for the remainder of the season will feature the college football playoffs top 25 rankings. So Tennessee number 7 in the first poll of the new year, welcoming in the Mississippi State Bulldogs for homecoming 2024 at Neyland Stadium. This wraps up that 4 home games run Tennessee's on right now, as they'll take on Georgia the next week on the road. But should be an entertaining game for the most part. Tennessee, like I said, 7-1 on the year. Pick up a 28-18 victory over Kentucky last Saturday. And now they take on Mississippi State, a week before they take on Georgia. For Mississippi State, just been a struggle throughout the season, but they have played teams tough. And, it wouldn't shock me. Once again, Tennessee has struggled in the first half of games. Wouldn't shock me if Mississippi State keeps this close in the first half. It's just, do they have enough to pull out the upset in the second half? Tennessee has been a better second half team this year. And, we saw last week with Dylan Sampson breaking the single season touchdown record, especially when he broke the record, that wonderful team effort by the Tennessee offensive line and everybody else pushing Sampson into the end zone. Really cool play there. We'll see what happens in this one, as Tennessee still in the thick of things in the college football playoffs, still trying to find a way to Atlanta as they welcome in Mississippi State. All right, 12 o'clock on ABC, another team that's in the thick of things in the playoffs and even a trip to Atlanta. The 5th-ranked Texas Longhorns, 7-1 on the year, welcomes in the 4-4 Florida Gators. Texas, like I said, just still kind of controlling their own destiny at this point. They still got some pretty big games coming up, including Texas A&M at the end of the year. But this is a pretty big home game for the most part. Meanwhile, for Florida, man, just a heartbreaking effort last Saturday. They took Georgia to the wire for most of the game. Unfortunately, DJ Lagway goes out with a season-ending injury after losing Graham Mertz in the Tennessee game. And, they just ran out of steam against Georgia. What does Florida still have left in the tank, as they got to still finish out this gauntlet of a schedule remainder of the year? They're still, 2 wins away from being bowl eligible. I know one of the games they play at the end of the season, they definitely have a great shot of at least getting a 5th win. It's just, where's that 6th win going to come in to play? But we'll see what happens. Can an upset happen? We shall see. Florida taking on Texas noon on ABC. All right, 3:30 ABC. This really starts a nice doubleheader on ABC, featuring 4 SEC teams ranked inside the top 16 in the college football playoff rankings. And we have number 3 Georgia, Tennessee's opponent next week, taking on the 16th ranked Ole Miss Rebels down in Oxford. Last week we saw James Franklin, for the head coach at Penn State, took another loss to Ohio State, and it seems like he cannot win with either against Ohio State or Michigan. And I think Lane Kiffin's kind of in that same boat too. Can Lane Kiffin, as Ole Miss's head coach, pick up a big signature win, a landmark win down in Oxford? And now you got Georgia coming in. A lot of people's kind of picking Ole Miss to upset Georgia, but we've seen in the past, anytime there's doubt on Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, they prove people wrong. So, we'll see what happens this Saturday at 3:30 on ABC as Georgia takes on the Ole Miss Rebels. 4:15 SEC Network, the bowl-bound Vanderbilt Commodores welcoming in South Carolina, who's 1 win away from being bowl eligible. 4:15 SEC Network. Vanderbilt's still riding high. with their season. They picked up that important 6th win last Saturday as they defeated the Auburn Tigers down on the Plains. Diego Pavia still putting up big plays for the Doors. And, meanwhile for South Carolina, just kind of been an up and down season. South Carolina picked up a big win recently. And, we'll see what happens as South Carolina meets Vanderbilt Saturday afternoon. All right, 7:30 ABC. Big game down in Baton Rouge. 11th ranked Alabama, 15th ranked LSU. Both teams 6-2 on the season. Bama does have 2 SEC losses. LSU only has 1. Remember, their second loss came back in week 1 to USC, which, man, I bet they wish they could play that game all over again. But, if you're a Tennessee fan, you're definitely rooting for LSU this week because this really helps Tennessee's chances to keep Alabama not only out of the college football playoff, but definitely improves your chances to get to Atlanta. 2 years ago in Baton Rouge, LSU pulled out the win at home. Could we see the same thing? Alabama has struggled on the road this year, especially with Jalen Milroe. Can Caleb DeBoer kind of shake off the woes of, he does have the Georgia win, but it was at home. But can he pick up a big road win, especially at, arguably the toughest place to pick up an SEC win in the SEC, and that's at LSU. But should be a lot of fun anytime these two teams meet, the Crimson Tide and the Bayou Bengals. 7:45 SEC Network, an old Big 12 game now in the SEC. Oklahoma at number 24, Missouri. Missouri's still ranked in the top 25, although I think a lot of the national media and the SEC media is kind of right off Mizzou at this point. Spot still being ranked. But, hey, I guess Eli Drinkwitz is happy he's bowl eligible. Meanwhile, for Oklahoma, it's just been kind of a baptism by fire here, year 1 in the SEC. They're just 1 win away from being bowl eligible themselves. But it's going to be a interesting game for the most part. Jackson Arnold has played better at quarterback for the Sooners. It's just can they coast to the finish line with a few bumps and scratches along the way? We shall see in that game late in Como. All right, let's go across the nation really quick. We're mainly featuring 3 games that feature undefeated teams that have major college football playoff impact. All right. In the ACC, noon on ESPN from Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta, the 4th-ranked undefeated Miami Hurricanes taking on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Remember last year, the crazy finish in Coral Gables. Miami refused to take a knee. Georgia Tech stopped them on downs, and Hayes King threw that wild pass for the end zone and ended up winning the game. Well, now here we are a year later. Obviously, Miami's a better team than they were last year. But Brent Key has a tendency to upset some ACC teams. So, like I said, Miami, big road game this Saturday in Atlanta, taking on Georgia Tech. That can be stingy. I think Hayes King, he's been hurt recently. I'm not sure if he'll go this Saturday or not, but we shall see. Anything can happen. All right, 3:30 CBS. The undefeated Indiana Hoosiers, the team that Tennessee could play in the playoffs. They welcome Michigan. Obviously, Michigan nowhere near the team as they were last year. Just trying to, like I say, coast to the finish line. But for the Hoosiers, Kurt Synergy done an awesome job having an undefeated top 10 Indiana team. I was not expecting this in year 1 for him. Trying to get to the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis where he could possibly meet Oregon, which Oregon's playing Maryland. We didn't feature them in the Tailgate Thursday. They're like a 25-point favorite over Maryland. Not much really to ride about. But, we'll see what happens in this one. This is another big-time game for the Hoosiers right here. And then finally, 10:15 ESPN, The Holy War is back. Number 9 BYU, undefeated at 9-0, taking on the 4-4 Utah Utes. Utah's been kind of, in my opinion, been the biggest disappointment so far. I would say compared to another Big 12 team, Oklahoma State. Thought they'd be a lot better at this point. But, just injuries in the quarterback position. But, these two teams do not like each other, and they always play close games. It's a late game. But, BYU trying to get to the Big 12 championship game in Arlington. And also, they have one of the 4 byes in this week's poll as far as the playoff brackets go. And, we'll see what happens. Could be an upset alert game. It's a late one also, 10:15 ESPN. BYU in Utah. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Tailgate Thursday. We hope you enjoy the football. And, we are sadly coming to a close. Still got, 3 more weeks of Tailgate Thursday. But, man, this college football season has flown by, and we appreciate you tuning in each and every week so far, and we're getting close to the finish line. Until next week, this is David Morrison. Enjoy the